For me, Mister. This guy's late. It's
We're live.
6:31.
It's not 6:31. It's 6:30. At least
Oh,
your time.
what?
It's 4:30 my time.
Right.
Um,
Oh, I can see you.
we're live. So welcome everyone.
Okay. It's working. It's muted too. Oh, look, there's my puzzles. Like underneath my face. I can see him. Jovial.
How are you doing, KNT?
I'm just reading Jovi saying that she's gonna have it in the background until I say something stupid, that she'll come back. That's really great.
Right. She's just here to bully you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why everyone's here, I think.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
why
everyone's
I'm here.
yeah, everyone hates me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so. That's why no one will watch this, except for the 9 people for some reason.
Under 9 people.
Anyways, let's just get started because we're already wasting time. So KNT has been setting puzzles for less than 6 months and has the reputation of a timeless constructor. He's made 34 puzzles on LMD and has an outstanding average rating of 98% or higher. Well, actually, definitely higher than that. He has 4 CTC features, and his puzzles have been making waves in trends nearly every single month that he's been setting. He's sort of the king of chaos construction. Please welcome KNT.
Wow, that was a lot, but hi. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. Yeah, I do have. I'm known for having high LMD ratings and abusing the system. That's what got me to where I am right on this stream.
Yeah, so let's talk about abuse. I'm just joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about what was your first puzzle that you ever set?
That's actually an interesting question because I think it makes more sense to contextualize myself as a solver more than a setter because I've been doing like really killer Sudoku since like before CTC. I wasn't even aware of CTC. Like I did them when I was in college in lectures just to kill time. Like it's like a dumb killer Sudoku app where every single puzzle is fully tiled and they're all just awful. But then I got recommended CTC as everyone did, and I didn't actually get hooked to the channel, but I remember they posted a puzzle. I don't remember what puzzle it was, but it was definitely like a very hard puzzle. And they were like, "This is rated 5 stars out of difficulty on Logic Masters Germany." And I'm like, "What the hell is Logic Masters Germany?" And I googled it. And I was like, "Wow, a repository of puzzles that aren't these terrible full tiled killer Sudokus that I do as a hobby." So I started.
It's the full tiled ones. I think I know exactly what site you're using.
Yes, they are all full tiled, and there's like an expert difficulty, and all the expert ones, like just have to bifurcate because they're computer generated or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but basically, I just solved on LMD without an account on and off for most of 2020 and 2021. I was a little more active in 2021. I was more busy during COVID with real life things because everyone got hit by COVID. And I joined the CTC server because I'm active on Discord in general, and so I was like, oh, CTC has a Discord server, maybe there's more puzzle stuff in there. And I remember like kind of lurking and reading that someone was like, there's a true candidates feature on F puzzles, and I'm like, what the hell is true candidates? And so I downloaded true candidates, and after I started solving puzzles, I would put it on true candidates, and I would remove like clue by clue. See what was forced, to see like what was the powerful clues and what weren't, and I would start just playing around with patterns and then trying to reverse engineer them, just doodling and doing stuff like that. So even though I haven't actually been setting full puzzles until probably 6 months ago, I've been playing around in an editor for over a year, just trying to reverse engineer patterns just so I can understand them better to solve more puzzles because I thought it was fun, and it's like a mentally therapeutic in a way, just to kind of draw things and see numbers appear on the screen and be like, oh, that's a really pretty butterfly looking arrow and it forced the number 9 on it or something like that. Like that was, so I guess my approach to setting was just kind of trying to learn patterns in a lot of pattern recognition so that I could apply basic pattern recognition to harder problems. And then basically, as I started starting setting. There's actually one puzzle that inspired me to start setting, and it is Colot's Borders Sums Chaos Construction. I watched the CTC feature, and I thought it was the coolest puzzle like literally ever. And I was like, chaos construction is the most awesome thing. So I tried to think of a chaos construction rule set, and it was my first puzzle on LMD. It's called Gaps, and it has the dumbest rule set ever. And I know me as a solver right now, and if I went to solve the puzzle, I would do the region construction in probably 3 minutes, and then spend another 50 minutes on the Sudoku. That's how the Sudoku is terrible. It's it's squeezed out to absolute hell. It's like this is like the easiest region construction puzzle for a 9x9 chaos construction that I'm even physically aware of. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. I made a chaos construction. It took me about 2 hours, and I didn't really even test it that much. I just put the numbers in until it gave me a unique solution, and they looked kind of symmetrical.
Right.
And then people solved it. Jesper was my first ever solve, but we can get back to him later. But then the literal next day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make another, but I want to make a more substantial rule set. And I solved totally normal Eye of the Storm chaos construction. That's also still one of my favorites, and it uses the exact same rule set, except I was like, okay, I should be like slightly different because I don't want to be a total copycat. And so I put diagonal arrows because that's really things different. And I was not exactly good enough to conceal any opening, which I guess isn't a bad thing. There's a very obvious 1, 2, 3, 4 quad in row 6, and it forces.
That's your favorite opening. Is a 1, 2, 3, 4.
I've gotten better at concealing my 1, 2, 3, 4 quad. This is the most.
Why is that a good thing?
Why not? Well, like
the break-in is artificially harder, but it's the exact same thing.
I think trivializing down any rule set to a 1, 2, 3, 4 quad is it's
an achievement of your career, I think.
it's an achievement of my career. But I don't know. I'm happy with how this turned out in terms of just being a nice approachable chaos construction. But yeah, there's nothing I find particularly interesting or engaging in this puzzle. But I was happy with it, much more so than the first one. It got featured like the next day, and I thought setting was the easiest thing ever because I could just make this after work and get featured the next day. But
easy.
It's getting easy. But I kind of getting all the positive feedback immediately. It kind of immediately motivated me to just start like I want to make even more and more because it's a a dopamine feedback cycle. There's the feature. Simon was hungover during the feature. So then I just started setting more chaos constructions. My first few pretty much all stolen rule sets from Totally Normal Cat, like the killer. The killer one, my second feature, was also his exact same rule set. So my first 2 CTC features were Totally Normal Cat's 2 chaos construction on LMD, but I just took their rule set and made a slightly easier puzzle. And that's kind of how it went for the start. I just rule sets and I just had to make a puzzle. The region sums one I stole from Frack. Zeta Math's Frack, great puzzle, way better than mine. And I didn't really have the ability, I guess, to come up with my own rule sets for a while. Because I didn't feel confident. I thought, hey, someone else did something that worked. I want to try doing something that worked. I stole those Renband diamonds from Jesper's second region X sums 1 and 2. But his use a negative constraint on all Renband diamonds are given, but I also took those. So like not even that was my original idea. I'm shameless, and almost everything I set is a sort of mishmash of things that I solve, and I just combine them, and I shamefully steal ideas. That's
not a bad thing. You're saying steal, but I think the word you mean is like you were inspired by their work.
I'm joking when I say steal because I don't really believe in intellectual property in the terms of puzzles, but I do not want to be attributed with any sort of original thought with at least my first 10 or so puzzles. I think really only the past couple months that I've really started trying to push boundaries with types of things that could be in puzzles, for better or worse, because it's just what I want to see and what I think is cool. But yeah, that's like this. Like this. That's the baby version, which still got rated at 5. I absolutely adore the 16x16. I'm in love with that puzzle, but yeah, I expect not too many people to go for it, but I think the break-in is beautiful. Beautiful in like a fun way. Yeah. And Navario's right. That number 1 does not deserve a 100. I want someone to downrate it so it looks like the second one is better. That's my problems.
All right.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of stuff in there, but you like answered half my. Did you somehow get a hold of my script, or you just want watching the other ones and you know what I'm gonna say before I say it because you just answered like
really much. I watched
6 questions.
I listen to all of Codex, but I can't say
Okay.
I listen to any of the other ones.
Gotcha.
Codex is fantastic. If Codex is in the chat, I love that. Great.
Okay, so let's talk about your hacks. What's the secret to getting 100% on LMD?
What's the secret to getting 100% on LMD? Okay.
Steal people's ideas.
I have an answer, and it's not a nice answer. And
Okay.
the answer is to solve puzzles. That is the answer to hacking on LMD. The answer is to solve puzzles. If you solve more than probably 10 puzzles a month, you're like in the top 10% of active setters that solve puzzles as well in the CTC Discord. From what I can tell, people do not solve at all, especially hard puzzles. If you're really engaged with hard puzzles and you're really passionate about them, like I am, and I absorb them, I'm like, wow, that's such a cool deduction. And you can kind of find a way to integrate that into your own setting. Yeah, I see Piatato in the chat. Piatato solves lots of awesome hard puzzles. You're awesome. Not to say that people don't solve hard puzzles aren't awesome, but I know who solves hard puzzles and I know who doesn't because I'm active enough on LMD that I check the solvers of every hard puzzle. So, yeah.
Spoiler: I don't solve hard puzzles very often.
I personally don't think you can put something together unless you know how to take it apart. That's just how I feel about it. And yeah, I think a lot of people on CTC see puzzles as almost like academic things to grade or like something to look at rather than a sort of interactive medium. Like I see a puzzle as something that I can physically or mentally engage with and grapple with. And I get fun out of just like playing with it or twigging at some parts or messing around with it and seeing until it falls apart. And other people are just kind of sitting there in like their academic chair or whatever, and like, this is a beautiful deduction or whatever.
With
it's
their
like
little wine glass, you know.
with their monocle or whatever. It's like I don't care. It's like, ooh, I had to brute force through one part. It could have been more fun, but I'm really trying to have fun with the puzzle. I'm not trying to grade it like I would like I TA'd calculus in college. I'm not treating the puzzles that I'm solving like a 19-year-old's calculus test or whatever like that. I'm treating it as something that I like, almost like a video game or something like that. Right. that has ups and downs and something that I can get through. Like it's with a start to finish. Definitely. I don't see it as I really don't see. I mean, I can understand beautiful deductions. I like stuff like that, but I appreciate them. I think really I love cool and elegant deductions, but above all, I see puzzles as things for fun and a medium that I can interact with, and so I like doing myself. And yeah,
when you get like, I don't know, just some like fidget thing or just like a regular object, do you like fidget with it? Is that something you do often? Because I feel like that's what you're describing with the puzzles, like you're messing with them, like you.
I mean, I don't pick up random objects and just start like squeezing them or something.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like I'm like with a puzzle is something that I like playing around with. That's how I feel about them. And I think a lot of setters, especially ones that are people that are more hesitant to pencil mark things because they want to only find the most beautiful and elegant way through a puzzle, are missing out on that experience of really just trying to have fun and really experiencing a puzzle. Like,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Like, cause I mean, I can understand being like, okay, if I'm doing this is not what the setter intended. I don't care what the setter intended. I want to do the puzzle. Yeah. I'm like that. I could care less about what the setter intended. I'm sorry if I'm doing your puzzle and I don't find the setter's intended step. I'm not going to blame the setter for having bad telegraphing or something like that. I'm just going to be like, if I had fun with it, I had fun with it. Some puzzles are concealed, some puzzles aren't, but in the end, if they're all just things that I try to solve, I have some that I like more than others, obviously, but I think, but circling back to what is my hack to LMD? It's that I love solving puzzles. That's my hack. And the fact that I love solving hard puzzles, I'm able to take the things, I think, from lots of hard puzzles that I've solved and steal, quote unquote, and put that and showcase them in some sort of rule set that I think is presentable and cool. And that's my hack.
So is it just the rule set, or when you sit down to set a puzzle, you're like, I really want to steal this specific deduction from this puzzle, and I want to steal that one, and I want to steal that one, and you have a list of these things. I'm going to put these in the puzzle, or is it just sort of like the rule set, or?
Well, first and foremost comes the rule set. That comes before everything, and then you obviously have to put the 1, 2, 3, 4 quad in, and then you steal the deduction.
The classic, right?
Yeah, no, but actually, I typically try to think of a rule set that's multi-layered. That's the biggest thing for me now. And what I mean by multi-layered is I think pencil puzzle hybrids are a really good way of multi-layering your puzzle. Like, there are puzzles that have one layer, but is a very intricate layer. I like puzzles where there is like a puzzle on top of another puzzle, and shading is a really good example of that, because you have one layer that's the shading puzzle, and underneath it or above it, or however you want to orient it like that, there is the Sudoku or more arithmetic side of the puzzle.
Right.
Yeah, and I think having more layers to a puzzle, it doesn't actually really vastly increase the difficulty of a puzzle, but it increases the length, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Because I that is something I do like doing. I do like artificially increasing the length of my puzzles, because I personally really
everyone's time.
Yeah, because I like wasting people's time. No, but I like long puzzles. Like yeah.
I mean, half the things you said at the beginning were, I wanted to kill some time, so it makes sense that you want to make puzzles to kill time.
This is what I do. I have excess mental energy, so I put it on puzzles. I would much rather spend hours on one puzzle than do like 5 killer Sudoku that I'm going to forget. Even though I love killer, but so I would much rather have one puzzle that sticks with me than forgettable one. Personally.
So clearly we figured out so far that the K in KNT stands for kill, and the T stands for time. I don't know what the N stands for, but it's clearly kill something time. Like that's your motto.
Kill Nefarious time.
Kill Nefarious time. Oh, that's so real, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, we got it at the same time.
Yeah. No, it doesn't stand for that. No. I wish it did, but no, it doesn't.
What does it stand for, or what does it mean?
They said cat normal totally. It's not totally normal cat backwards, sadly.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah, someone did ask that.
What does it mean? It is an old username I made when I was a kid was Kint with an I in between it. Right. When I made an LMD account, like I made this username when I was like 6 years old, 7 years old. And I made an LMD account. I just dropped the I and I put them all capital. And I just put it on there. There was no real thought behind it. A lot of people thought it's my initials. It is nowhere near my initials.
What is Kint? What is that?
Ask 6-year-old me. I have no idea. It's a username I made like on some. This is like literally close to 20 years ago. Approximate age reveal. But basically, I used it to sign up for some like I don't know online like website or something. It was before. It was before Webkins. But I used that as a username, and I just kind of. I mean, I've used it on various usernames here and there because I never used it for whatever reason. But yeah, for some reason, I wanted LMD to be slightly different because, put puzzles as like a different side, I guess.
Right. So with the layering thing that we were talking about before, is that sort of just with hybrids, or was that sort of your opinion, or is that just now your opinion? Was that your opinion before with the chaos construction? Like there's the multiple layers, there's the region building, there's the irregular.
Well, when I started liking chaos constructions, I'll admit I didn't really think about layering or think about anything. I just saw border sums on CTC and I thought it was the coolest puzzle ever. So I wanted to make one too.
Right.
Because I just thought region building just felt so different. Yeah. But as time has gone on, if you do look at my catalog on LMD, I still do make region building stuff, but it has not been as predominant of a force.
Mm-hmm.
It is
for sure.
Yeah. I think chaos deconstructions have a lot of potential because it does add to that layering thing, because you have to consider where can empty cells go, and where can non-empty cells go. So it's a sort of like meta shading puzzle where the shaded would be empty and non-shaded would be non-empty. I literally made a deconstruction where all the empty cells and filled cells had to form a valid cave solution. Like I love that.
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty neat. It's definitely it's 5 stars like everything I post, but it's definitely not one of my harder puzzles. As silly as that is to sound, that one of my 5 stars is not one of my harder puzzles. But I think I don't know. If I were to plug in an easier KNT puzzle for people that they might want to try it, it's the second chaos deconstruction. I think it's a lot of fun. Navario and Totally Normal Cat helped set it as well. I set it all in VC1. Yeah, most of my 5 stars are fake 5 stars. That's true. I agree with that. But
so speak about difficulty, because you have a lot of hard puzzles, and you're saying that these are fake 5 stars. Are they fake 5 stars, and then they should be higher or they should be lower, or what?
My opinion on difficulty is that I rate difficulty off of how hard I found the puzzle. That does not mean how long I found the puzzle. That means how hard I found the puzzle. I have a lot of very long puzzles, but I know a lot of people on LMD rate puzzles because they are very long. I remember speaking to a setter that said they rate everything over 45 minutes a 5-star puzzle, and I had absolutely no words to come back to that as someone who literally semi-regularly does puzzles that take me over 4 hours long. I'm like, it's just like it's just nothing. It's like I don't know. I understand that I mean in the position that I'm in, I have a lot of free time, so I understand when someone only has 2 hours to do a puzzle and it takes all 2 hours of it. I was talking about this with Turg the other day. And yeah, I understand it might feel longer because it consumed all of their free time. But contextually, I mean, if a puzzle takes me like 20 minutes, if it's not like Glip Rules 178, I'm usually forgetting it. That's just kind of how it is. But yes, with difficulty, I say they're fake 5 stars because they're just very long 4-star puzzles. I don't personally think I have many puzzles that have true 5-star deduction. I say that's, I definitely do. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that's a vast, even a majority of them at all of the 5 stars. I think they're just very long 4-star puzzles. So I think my reputation as a hard setter is kind of interesting. Because I see myself as someone who sets definitely hard puzzles, but there are people who set far more impossible puzzles. Faluda comes to mind. Faluda is like Faluda's unreal. Kolaj, I mean, when he was
so
active,
you're friends with Faluda?
Yeah. I have talked to Faluda. I know you are. I have talked to Faluda 2 times ever, and that dude is just like on another plane of existence. Like that's like when I tested his 8x8 equals 9x9, I was like, holy, this dude is just. I can't keep up with him, but he's awesome. I love Faluda puzzles, even if they even if they're somewhat painful. And my metric for a memorable puzzle is if a puzzle does not make me hate myself for at least 1 point during the solve, it's not a puzzle I love.
Interesting.
If a puzzle has a journey where there's such a serious low where I broke it, or I was really thinking about something and I was going crazy because I thought something was broken and it really wasn't. Like I can't love a puzzle that doesn't do something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I'm me, but I love puzzles that really make me go crazy. Yeah.
So
Nori. Nori just said I can't level.
Yeah,
I agree.
I looked on the CTC Discord to see what was the first thing KNT said, and I saw that you asked for help with death, you asked for help with knee plus ultra, and that was literally all you said for months, and then you got featured.
Yeah. My first message was to Turganis. He definitely forgot it, asking for help with death. Yeah, that was because I broke the K clue, and he knows exactly what the clue is. I think he forgot it, but I broke that clue, and I didn't know why I broke the clue, and I was going crazy, and I came in here and I asked for help. Yeah, it is a good clue. It's a mean clue, but it's a great clue. I love that puzzle. And yeah, I did ask for help with knee plus ultra. I don't remember much of that interaction, but I did, yes, and then I kind of disappeared for a couple months. Yeah, but those were 2 very hard puzzles to me. Knee plus ultra is...
Sorry, you I don't know if you blow your mic or something, but you cut out there.
Did? I don't think I
Okay,
said anything.
you're back. Oh, okay. So, what made you like? Why did you need help on those really hard puzzles? I know you've been solving for a really long time at that point, so.
I don't know because I couldn't give you an answer, but I just remember breaking a puzzle and be like, why is this broken? I know there's a setter that's in here. I can probably just ping him and he can tell me where I went wrong. Like that's
Right.
There wasn't really much thought with that. I still do that sometimes with extremely hard puzzles. But instead I sometimes ask someone like Vebi to sanity check me or something like that if he's done something like that. I've done that 2 or 3 times.
That'd be great.
Yeah, actually, I think I don't really ask for help for puzzles anymore. I ask for sanity checks, if that makes any sense. Saying like,
Yeah,
did I not make a mistake yet? And that kind of gives me a sense, like a check mark, to know that if I make a mistake, I don't have to rewind farther behind than a certain point.
Yeah.
But I very rarely ask for help on things much anymore. Largely because it's not like an ego thing, but it's like there aren't many puzzles that are made from people in CTC that I get stuck on. And I make that distinction very clearly because all the actual hard stuff is, in my opinion, for the most part, made from people that are not active in CTC.
Interesting.
Yeah, like the old LMD German users. Some of Ebag or Gabby or however her name is, some of her old Japanese caves are some of the scariest things I've ever seen, and I look at them with trepidation because I have no idea how I would even want to approach them. Like I made a Japanese cave, but there's like a puzzle where it's like a Japanese cave, and all the outside clues are ciphered, and they're in an unknown base, like an unknown number base. So you're doing a cipher unknown number base, and there's like 5 cipher letters, and one of the cipher letters is a wild card, which means it could be whatever value. It's just some of the most insane, deranged, lunatic stuff that I've ever seen in my life. And people are saying that puzzles are getting harder now when this stuff is existing in 2018. It's just like, well, the puzzles that are appearing in CTC are getting harder, but the puzzles that are out there, they're not comparable. They're not on the same playing field in terms of difficulty. Like the stuff from Wichtel or however you say it, that's like you can't compare any of those puzzles that come out to literally anything I've ever seen in 2022 out of the CTC Discord server. You can't. They just are not. They're not on the same playing field. They're just so much harder.
That's kind of crazy to think about. I guess maybe those sorts of puzzles weren't being consistently made since then till now. So I guess there's some kind of peak and then fall off, and now we're rising again.
Yeah, that's what it's kind of like at CTC, there were hard puzzles because it wasn't really popularized yet. And then it became, let's all set approachable puzzles so we can all get featured on CTC. And then people are like, okay, I'm getting better at my approachable puzzles. I'm going to start making hard puzzles, so that there's this perceived steep incline, but I really think it's a drop and then a rise again. But yeah, if you go into the non-Sudoku tab on LMD, it's like all these there's like 5 of them and 5 people on that side, and they all solve each other's puzzles, and they all post ridiculous puzzles, and they all have like 6,000 solves. Like I posted a Japanese cave there's like 3 puzzles ago or something like that, and I got a comment from a user called Tuas, and it made me happier than any other LMD comment in my entire setting career, because it's someone that's been actively.
You're breaking up a bit. That might be my end. Okay. You can see me cringing? Okay. I was gonna say earlier that he was a robot because he was saying, "Oh, like he's just doing pattern recognition." I can't. Maybe reconnect. Can you hear me? He's like freaking Wally. Eva. Full on robot. Are you there? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me, KNT? Oh, okay, okay.
Hello.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I think it's on you. I just did a speed test and I have 500 down. And so I think my internet's good.
Let me just check real quick. The speed test always lies to you though, let's be real.
Okay, true, but I just wanted to check. I pay a dumb amount of money for internet, so yeah.
Yeah, it's probably
Anyway.
me.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I am Zeno, I am 194 up. So I think that should be good for streaming.
I am pitiful. Yeah, I'm bad.
Okay.
Okay.
What was I even
well,
talking about? What were you asking? I don't remember.
Is it still like buffering a ton, guys? Gone again? Great. It's just great. Maybe.
Can you hear me? It's just yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I can hear you just fine.
I can hear you perfectly as well. I think that probably means you're it's good-ish, they're saying.
Okay, it's getting better. Okay, I don't even know. It's probably just a blip on the server thing. Is it better now? Okay.
They say it seems okay.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
You were talking about two ace.
I was saying this two ace guy. When I got this comment on this puzzle, it made me so it was one of the happiest moments I had setting, because this is someone that's been doing puzzles for 15 years on LMD, and they basically only do non-Sudokus that are made by other German people that have been doing this for 15 years. And the fact he kind of went out to do my puzzle, or he or she, it just made me very happy. Yeah, like their profile's crazy. They've been forever. I love the Germans. There should be like a USA Vichtel. I would love that. People go crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Anyone down to make like everyone makes there's like an anonymous account and people post just absurd puzzles anonymously? I think that'd be awesome. But I don't know. I want more things to solve. I can't sustain myself off the current LMD CTC output, to be perfectly honest.
You can't sustain yourself.
Not USA. Not USA. An English one, not a German. Sorry, no. I'm an American pig. Yeah, I do want to exclude you. You're right.
At first, I thought you were like a robot because you're like, oh, let's do the pattern recognition. But now I realize you're a puzzle vampire because I need to sustain myself. Give me more puzzles.
Well, I say that in the sense that like I go on LMD a lot and I'm just like, I feel bleh. I have like an hour free or something and I'll be like, I want to do something that's interesting. There's nothing there that I like being completely honest. I see probably one or two puzzles every other day or something like that. So I guess a puzzle every other day pops up, which is, it's nice. Yeah. I'm not like someone like CDWG that can just like plow through everything ever. But yeah, nowadays I find myself doing a lot of older puzzles, as opposed to newer ones, because there's a lot there that I haven't done. There's so much from the past that's so cool. You should set a sequel to Fractal for me. I'd love that, Andrew.
So, you came from basically not talking at all in the CTC Discord and just asking for help with Death and Nepos Ultra to all of a sudden just like that, like just talking every day all the time with people all the time, and you immediately had lots of people who regularly sort of interact with you, and obviously you have lots of people who regularly solve your puzzles on LMD. So how does someone new get started involved like that? Like, I
think I have a leg up in the sense that I'm naturally a sociable person. Like, yeah. I'm decent with people, so I was not like intimidated to talk in a public place. And I don't know, I think Naverio took a liking to me and we talked a bit. And I also reached out personally to Totally Normal Cat out of nowhere, and I was like, hey, this is your puzzles inspired mine. That's like, thanks for that, or something just random and just like a nice gesture. And he was like, that's cool, and we talked a bit. But it's just like, it's, I feel like just having one or two people that you can talk to in general kind of snowballs. It's just a common being nice to people. People will be nice to you. But having loyal solvers, I think, is a completely different thing, and I am very, very grateful for that. I do have loyal solvers on LMD, and I know not everyone has that, and I don't take it for granted. But
what's the trick to
that? Consistency and activity. I think if you have I think a lot of setters put out fluff. If I'm going to be completely honest, like just to put a puzzle for the sake of putting out a puzzle in between the puzzles that they actually care about. Yeah. If that makes any sense like that. And I don't know, I don't really put a puzzle if I don't really, yeah. Yeah, because, I only a few months after I started talking to Naverio and TNC, yeah. A little guy, see him in chat, but anyway. but no, I think it's all about consistency more than anything. Because if you're a name that keeps on popping up and it's, you meant Fluff. No, if you're a name that keeps on coming up and they're at least above a certain quality level, people they would naturally want to do it. And I think a lot of active solvers on LMD, and I'm saying actual solvers, not setters, when they find a catalog they like, it feels really good. Because I remember there's some setters that I find their catalog and I just try to go through them, and I'm like, that's awesome. It's a fun experience. It saves you the effort of actually looking for puzzles because they're all listed in one person's catalog. Right. I've been honored to have a few people that just start from my beginning and they just go one after the other. And something that I don't think a lot of people know about, but you can go onto LMD and there's a follow list, so you can put people's username and you'll get an email or a notification for when a certain setter posts a new puzzle. So
that's insane.
I don't know if you knew that, but you can do that. And I have push notifications on for a handful of setters so that I can see if they posted a puzzle. I get a little ding on my phone saying like X posted a new puzzle. And LMDS, I'm actually pretty nice. I really like that one more than anything.
Scorp has that for everyone, I think.
Yeah, Scorp must have it for everyone.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah. You can go. It's just you go into settings and then there's follow or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's nice. Yeah, no.
So we started talking like pretty near the beginning when you were talking to Naverio and TNC. I think at least.
Yeah, I think we started talking because I think you asked me if we wanted to collab like a miracle question mark. Chaos Construction.
Yeah, I think we started talking because of region geometry, because we were both sort of name called in that, name dropped in Colot's
in the post.
Or in the original post, yeah.
And I was like, you're like, let's do the challenge, and I'm like, okay, and it went horribly. I remember that. And then you actually made something out of it.
No, I didn't. But nothing really.
Okay, it has two givens, but.
No, that's not even from our collab. That was just nothing.
No. I mean, after the fact, you went and actually set something for that challenge. I mean, from what we the collab, it just utterly failed, and then neither of us did anything with it. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I tried for so long. It did not work.
You tried far more than I did. I do know that. And yeah, I felt bad, but it just wasn't gonna work. The rule set was so bad.
It was kind of awful.
It was horrible. It was awful. Yeah.
It was bad. So what do you think about challenges like that? Is that a good thing from the community, or is that just going to make bad puzzles because you're just trying to make something that fulfills the requirements and it's just terrible?
What do I think about challenges? I think it really depends on the challenge. But I think the question mark challenge was absolutely horrible for the community. Or community, quote unquote, or whatever you want to call that. Because no one is as good as Kolot at that kind of puzzle. So whatever comes out of that challenge will just be worse than whatever Kolot creates for that challenge. Kolot not being able to do the pure question mark challenge is kind of like a middle finger in the sense, because because that means no one else can, because that's just how Kolot is, because he's Kolot. So I think that challenge kind of created a lot of minimalist, really painful puzzles. As a result, because I know whatever ends up succeeding from that challenge, even if the challenge is complete, it will not be a fun puzzle. I know I can say that. If it is a fun puzzle, that is like a Herculean achievement. Because region geometry bordered on fun. I can't say that was the most fun thing ever, but for what it was insane. And
it was actually really fun for me, except for the fact that I made a mistake about like 30 minutes in, and that cost me about 2 hours. I liked the
first half. I liked the first half, and I liked there was one part where you were doing stuff with nines, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And the end, it wasn't an unfun puzzle. Don't get me wrong, I liked it. But the end was a little just kind of all over the place for me. Navario's right. Of all those challenge minimalism puzzles, it's definitely the best. There's no comparison. It's definitely the best. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, that's me being a little pedantic on the puzzle. It's a great puzzle. Like it's a great puzzle, but I don't think it did many good things. My favorite challenge to this day is Fry the Guy offering $500 for anyone to create an anchor Sudoku, and then everyone got flamed him on the LMD comments. That's still my favorite challenge.
I didn't even know it was a real thing.
Yeah, if you go to Fry the Guy, one of his like his final like anchor Sudoku in the series, he goes like, I will give $500 to anyone that makes like a better anchor Sudoku than me, or something like that.
Oh no!
And there's just pages upon pages of like LMD comments, and it's such a funny read. And the funny thing is because Fry the Guy is a setter that I actually take some sort of inspiration from. But he's just like he's chaotic. It was just such a funny. It was such a funny thread or LMD forum post. That's still my favorite challenge to this stage because it's funny and no one did anything about it. But Kolot's challenge I think was a little bit harmful because it made bad puzzles, and people could have been investing that energy in making fun puzzles instead of.
Well, it wasted a ton of my time for sure.
Yeah, I wasted a bit of my time too because I got baited too. It was a really good bait. It was like a really good bait, but it was yeah. That's why it was so harmful because we all got sucked into it. But in the end, I think it was terrible.
Yeah,
but
it was terrible. Yeah. Not that they were unfun, just that. Yeah, it wasted a lot of time. So let's talk about a little bit more about chaos constructions. So describe for our viewers that might not have a lot of experience, what is a chaos construction?
A chaos construction, let's go from the beginning. A regular Sudoku was originally called Chaos Sudoku for the longest time. People would say that this is a Chaos Sudoku when the regions weren't 3x3 boxes. And then Fistamafel made a puzzle in 2020 called Chaos Construction, where you are constructing a Chaos Sudoku. And it's basically you're creating it based off of arrows and regions or whatever. So that's why it's called a Chaos Construction, because it's like a build your own Chaos Sudoku. I have no idea when people started calling it a regular, because for the longest time in Sudoku history it was called Chaos Sudoku. But
I think it's a European versus American thing.
Yeah, I don't know the etymology, but I know
or Britishism or something.
Yeah. But anyway, that is what a chaos construction is. So
Yeah.
that's your long-winded. It started becoming called a regular because of F puzzles, Jovi says. I believe that.
Really? Wow, that's crazy. Um, why do you like CC? Assuming you do like chaos
I
constructions.
I hate CC. No, I do really enjoy CC.
They make
Um,
me hate myself, so I love them.
yeah, no. Well, I don't think I enjoy CC more than a lot of other, I guess, on-guard rule sets. Like I would do a CC over like a pure Renban any day of the week, but like I don't think
Again,
being
another
a
shot at Keisho.
uh, was that another shot at Kirito?
Yeah, he's made a ton of
Maybe.
pure
That
render.
is not, that was not the intention, but I guess it was. Yeah. I'm
It's okay.
joking. Yeah. No, I don't like puzzles with lines for the most part, just in general. I'm not a big I do not bring up entropic lines in this interview or whatever, because I will say they're horrible and no one should ever set them. That's all I'll go off on it, but just don't bring up line puzzles. I don't like
Okay.
them. But
Duly noted.
yeah.
So how about lines? What do you like?
Yeah, but yeah, no. Chaos constructions, I think they're interesting, and I think they're interesting in the sense that it adds like another dimension of just a puzzle. It's like you get to build your own regions, and it's sort of like, how do I articulate this? It's not Sudoku in a sense. Sudoku to me feels like a very mechanical operation, like the act of literally just doing Sudoku, because you're scanning across rows for looking for numbers that appear out of nowhere or eliminating candidates somewhere or so on and so forth. It feels like like I don't enjoy being a robot. Like I don't like scanning and doing like literal, like, I don't know, mechanical stuff. Whereas if you're doing like a pencil puzzle, it doesn't really feel mechanical. It feels like you're just, it's way more free flowy and kind of fun of like drawing shapes and whatever. Like it feels a lot more artistic in a sense. And chaos construction is a way to really, really drive that kind of, I don't know, artsy sense.
Yeah.
In a puzzle. I guess I don't really know how to describe it more than that, but there's a driving force that doesn't feel like a mechanical operation. Whereas a lot of Sudoku to me feels very mechanical. I think that's the best way I can put it.
Right.
Pancake is right. German Whisper is the best line, but I don't like pure German Whispers. But I think Whisper as a constraint with other things is amazing. I love Whisper with puzzle. I don't like Whisper puzzle. But yes,
I have to make an amendment whenever I solve a Whisper puzzle by someone. I'm like, just so you know, I hated it, but I don't like German Whisper pure puzzles because they're all the same and it's terrible. But it's just me. It's not your puzzle. It's just me.
GW is, so it just feels like it fits with so many other things. Does anyone know why it's called Whisper? Like, why is it German? I don't know.
It's Chinese Whispers was like the
I know
other
Chinese
one.
Whispers first. I know that came first.
Yeah, it came first, and then in a German contest, they had German Whispers, and they wanted to name it different than Chinese Whispers, obviously, because it's the opposite. So they called it German Whispers because it was a German competition.
Wow, Joey just said that too. Okay, cool. I learned something new today. That's
What's your favorite part of solving chaos constructions? Like what kinds of deductions? Because there is like a hallmark set of deductions for a CC, right?
Yes, there is one deduction that I love in a CC, and it is when you have 9 cells in the grid that all part of distinct regions. That means every cell in the grid is part of one of those 9 regions. You can always allocate every digit in the grid to one of the existing regions. I love that kind of deduction when it comes into play out of nowhere. In the sort of mid solve kind of point. Like I like some early region building, and then out of nowhere it's like, wait a minute, I have 9 regions in the grid, and then there's just some random cell that automatically becomes part of one region, and it forces like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I love that too. It's one cell away from being completely trivial, like it could go anywhere, and then it's like, no, it has to do this, and then you just draw the entire region.
There's a deduction like that in Regional Skyscrapers, Magnus Josephson's chaos construction that everyone raves over. that's just like that, and it's like it's my favorite it's my single favorite deduction in a chaos construction puzzle to this day because it's so out of left field. And if anyone has done that puzzle, it is about a cell in row 7 connecting to a cell in row 9. And if that rings a bell to anyone, I would be curious. But it is my favorite deduction in chaos constructions. It's awesome. And more people should look at it. It's such a good puzzle.
So we talked a bit about where your early setting ideas came from, but where do you get your ideas from now? Is it just solving old things? You're stealing from people who don't even know that you're stealing from them now?
Where do you get new ideas?
Yeah.
This is a hard question because a lot of times I'm just thinking about puzzle genres and I think, how can I put this in a Sudoku? And that's kind of what I did for a while. It's like I saw Abed Hawila's region sumline cave, so I was like, I'll make a cave, but instead of region sumlines, I'll use whisper. But now, I mean, like I have a puzzle where it's 4 linked 6x6 grids. It's the big one in the bottom right of the overlay, where each grid is the puzzle. Which puzzle is which is ambiguous. Like, and I don't think there's anything like that exists even still. And I don't really.
I've never seen that before.
Do you know? Yeah, do you roughly know the rule set? I don't know if you've seen it.
I read it in testing, and then I was like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's actually I want to say approachable, despite the rule set being absurdly long. The break-in's the hardest part, but after I think it flows really nicely, and they're all like kind of 3.5 4-star puzzles once you nail down which is which.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean the idea for this came from the original idea I saw is Zeta made vignettes, which was it's a 6 linked 6x6, and I was like, oh, I want to make a linked 6x6, and I thought to myself, I've made lots of pencil puzzles, and let's make linked pencil puzzles and have the shading go across grids. And I did that, and then I don't remember, I was DMing with someone, and they were like, what if you make which grid is which ambiguous? And I was like, holy crap, that's an awesome idea. I didn't even come up with that, but then I was away for like a week or something like that, and the idea couldn't like leave my head. So I thought about this puzzle, like how it wasn't with Univario, it was not. I thought about this puzzle for a while, just from like a theoretical sense. I was like, how would it be even possible to disambiguate between the grids? And I won't spoil it, I guess, but I kind of had the idea mapped out in my head, how it would work, and I set this in one sitting. Like, once I had the idea ironed out, I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm gonna do, and because I kind of set the break-in like without not on paper, just like in my brain, I was just like, oh, that would probably, because I've been thinking about it for like a week on and off. And yeah, then the grids just kind of flowed naturally, and then 6 or 7 hours later, it appeared. Like when I said, what's it called? When I said, I'm very like determined in the sense that not determined. I don't stop easily. That's one way to say it, to do it. When I get in a flow, I get like it's a self-fulfilling like dopamine in a sense, because it's like, ooh, that's cool, and then I can keep going and like, ooh, that's cool, and then unless I like actually have to like fall asleep or something because I have work the next day, and then I'll stop.
When we were first talking, like, I don't know if it was the first time we talked, but one of the first times we talked, you said that you had an addictive personality, and you thought that you would probably just do this for a month and then just quit. But
yeah, that sounds like something I'd say, but I totally have an addictive personality with anything I've done in the past. Yeah, and it's totally, I mean, puzzles now. I mean, it's just what I enjoy doing. It's a really nice way to channel my excess mental energy.
Yeah.
I said mostly during the work week, honestly, after work, and I kind of like chill on weekends with my girlfriend, but that's, my work week, it's like, do puzzles, and then like yeah, do puzzles and work and code. Like that's the work. And do puzzles. Yeah, that's that's honestly my life, and I'm right now, and it's great. Then I was related.
Another thing, or you mean related as in you sent it before? Okay, you didn't send it before, so I have no idea what you sent in the Discord. I can't look at it. Oh, do you have any other creative outlets than setting puzzles, is what he asked.
Do I have any other? Well, I honestly don't. I'm not really.
All right, that's enough. Go ahead.
No, it's a lame answer, but not really. No, I've never really been one to create and share art in my life before puzzles. I've been invested in hobbies just in general. Like I'm an avid. I read a lot, even still. I'm a total dork. I love playing video games, you know. But I've never had anything where I've created art and shared it with other people and gotten, you know, they like the art that I've created, because I see puzzles. Even though I went at the start, I was like, puzzles are not like art or beauty or something, like they're something to like really like examine like that. Yeah, it's never, I've never really shared anything as a creative outlet like that before. And what for ZFG? Yes, I have contributed a lot to modded Minecraft in the past when I was in high school and a little bit in college. I've written a lot in the past, so yes, that coding as a hobby, I guess that does count, but not in 5 years or something like that.
Another thing that I saw in our conversation was that at one point I told you that you said something like, "I have so many ideas and I just can't get them all set in enough time."
Yeah, that's still the case.
Oh, again, I guess my question is answered, but I was saying,
Yeah.
I said to you that often, I guess, setters have like sort of a honeymoon period where they have like, they think they have so many ideas and like, oh my word, how am I going to set these all? And then they do set them all, or they realize that half of the ideas are bad, and then they can't even, there's like a block at some point. But you said no. You said you're built different. Yeah. Is that you still stand by those words?
I'm built different. I always have something that I want to set or solve, and I'm for better or worse. Polar joined Discord recently. I don't know if people here are aware of Polar, but she is one of the most talented solvers on LMD. They have the most 5-star solves of anyone on the platform. And she kind of messaged me being like, "I really like your puzzles, but I love massive puzzles. You should make massive things for me." And it's kind of a bad influence. So
that's why you did the 16 by 16.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she tested the 16 by 16 and was like, that was awesome. So yeah, I have a total bad influence of setting massive puzzles in the future. Like I love big grids, so I apologize for more wasted Navario time in advance. But yeah, no, I have some pretty cool ideas that I want to set. I definitely want to get into setting invariant Philomeno. That's something I really want to start doing.
Philomeno is so fun. I should set Philomeno more. I don't think I've even set a Philomeno. I've tried before, but it's fun.
I've set one Philomeno. It's not one of my favorite sets at all. It's nice, I guess, but I want to like really put effort into a Philomeno. Yeah. I really want to like. Jesper's Philomenos are just like to die for. Like his Nurikabe Philomeno is just like the best thing ever.
Okay. Honestly, you mentioned Jesper, so I'll bring up Chovio's question. Oh, I guess this was also asked by, I want to say Sonic. Usually setters have a few people that they look up to as being primary inspiration. Well, she knows that this is true for Jesper, Magnus, etc. Are there any setters that you look up to in a similar way, like that we wouldn't know? Obviously, you love Colot as well, and you mentioned a few others. Is there any others that we wouldn't know of?
That's interesting, because like even Colot, I don't draw any inspiration. I respect him as a human being immensely, as a far more powerful brain than I am. But I do not draw any inspiration from his pure question mark puzzles. They do not instill like anything in me. I guess. Yeah.
Except for hate for yourself. Oh, she said solvers. She said solvers. I thought that was a typo. I'm so sorry.
Well, I can do both. But setters, Jesper is by far and away number one. I think he is a top 3 setter on an objective level. I think if people have not solved his puzzles, I think if you do not think that, that means you have not solved his puzzle. I sincerely hold that belief. He's too good. Like, it's actually not fair. It's ridiculous. Like, I know people are like, oh, it's a hobby, but no, he's better. Yeah, he's so good. But yeah, no, obviously, he's number one when it comes to geometric stuff. He
Right.
with his puzzles, I think something that a hallmark kind of Jesper kind of thing is that there is never any sort of look ahead or anything like that. But they're always hard puzzles in the sense that the deductions themselves are complex in a not sort of chain kind of way.
Right.
Like you have to actually think about something that you've never considered before in a puzzle, and that doesn't feel like pattern recognition. It feels like you're actually discovering something new when you're
Right.
doing his puzzles. But yeah, he's obviously number one. I mean, yeah, that family, like Magnus, is also insane, but I can't say I draw inspiration from Magnus. I just think Magnus is also a god. I think Zeta I draw inspiration from in the sense maybe I don't draw inspiration from Zeta, but I think I like very similar things that he does.
Hmm.
And I think he was one of my, I guess, an early setter, like one of the first setters that I solved that really wowed me
Hmm.
in terms of puzzles. I think his puzzle Kodama, it's an S cell German Whisper. That puzzle like blew me away when I solved it.
Right.
Yeah, and everything Zeta publishes, I will 100% solve. I am a loyal solver to Zeta Math. He is fantastic. Um, Another setter I mean I mentioned him as a meme, but but Fry the Guy actually, even though I've not done a huge amount of Fry the Guy puzzles, I think his the way he sets is very inspirational to me in the sense that he does things with very standard constraints that I don't think anyone else does with standard constraints, if that makes any sense. Like he somehow manages to find a way to come up with like meta arguments to solve puzzles that are not like annoying. Like I mean, everyone knows 14, the puzzle leads you in a way to discovering that every two 4-cell 14 cages share at least 2 digits, and you can use that to color the entire grid and stuff like that. He has another puzzle called Ones and Twos where it's all 3-cell 11 and 12 cages, and you have to do some global argument versus taking into account the total numbers of ones and twos that can go in all these cages, and that allocates them into certain other parts of the grid. It's just totally wacky things with like really standard, really basic looking puzzles that are just like totally out there. And I think it's just like, and the puzzles themselves, they lead you into discovering these really stupid arguments, which is a hallmark of like a crazy setter to me. Because there's a lot of puzzles I see out there that like you have to make some sort of crazy argument in order to solve it, but the puzzle doesn't do a good job of leading you to that crazy argument. And I know
Right.
I'm like telegraphing, blah blah blah, I don't really care about it. But when it's an argument that's like literally theoretical, like you can't telegraph theory that
Right.
well, you know? Yeah. It's like I mean, there's one thing when you're not telegraphing like a really convoluted set, but there's another thing where you're like you can't. That's one thing, but like telegraphing the step where you have to count the number of prime digits allocated into certain numbers of cages or something like that. You know, it's a completely different beast in itself. But he has made puzzles kind of lead you into discovering those discoveries yourself, and I appreciate that because not many setters really lead me to finding discoveries that much anymore. Tangentially, I really don't like it when I see a puzzle on LMD where the title is I saw something that's like I don't remember who made it. It was a killer Sudoku. It was like 3 out of 5. It was like whatever, but it was called like it's a set up with the set was in all caps. And the only interesting thing to me if I did that puzzle and I didn't have the title would be like looking for that set because it's not a super like clear like I wouldn't immediately go to think for set. And I think that like wow, you told me to do set, so I found it and then I solved the puzzle, which was like whatever to me afterwards. So it's like you took the one thing that I would have actually spent time grappling with the puzzle and you just spoiled it with the title. Like I see I see a lot of puzzles that are like all part of the set or whatever. Like I see a lot of them that use set in the title or like say in the description like this puzzle uses set to solve. And they're like fine puzzles, but like I don't want to be told how to solve the puzzle. Like I don't want to do I don't want that. I want to explore it myself. Yeah, no, and yeah, okay. I don't remember who did it, but yeah, it was a decent puzzle. It was just like it wasn't anything crazy, but the one cool part of it to me was the set. And the puzzle said, use set to solve the puzzle. Like that's why do you do that? Yeah, Tess has a puzzle called set equivalence theory that does not use set equivalence theory. That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told people to use set in the title before. I don't actually think that it's a problem, but
I don't think it's a problem because I think people are like, oh well, you can't telegraph set well, and that's true. But I think, I mean, everyone like when set like was like came out or whatever, however you want to say it, like it didn't come out, but you know what I mean. When everyone
see, the thing that I don't like is when I have to go through and do
started
a stupid puzzle for so
becoming
long.
obsessed with set, every people realize it's like okay, set.
You like you roboted for a few minutes, so restart on your rant about set.
Did I? I haven't said anything for a sec. You started talking, and
well, you at the beginning of the you were talking about I was dying too. Ugh.
I can hear you perfectly fine. This is all
Okay, so at the beginning of your when set was first discovered, you said or something like that, and then,
okay.
and then it was robot.
When set first became popular, everyone made set puzzles, and everyone kind of got inclined to okay, where am I gonna find the set? And then no one started making set puzzles because everyone realized it was overdone, and that's good. But I actually do nowadays appreciate the random set puzzle, so I don't because to like keep me like that remembering that it like exists as a technique. If that makes any sense.
I wish I could forget it.
You know, but like it's not something I go to immediately look for anymore because people don't set them anymore. But when a puzzle is like, I can't find anything, and then and then it's like, oh, it's a set, and then I do that. Like nowadays, that's actually it's kind of cool when it appears out of nowhere.
Yeah, but that's if it's telegraphed. But if it's not telegraphed and they really like the puzzle and they want it to keep it, just tell them it's a set, like, because everyone who doesn't want to solve it will just not solve it. Like that's the point.
Yeah, I think this is where I know people will disagree with me, and I understand why people will disagree with me. I think that puzzle would be better with less solves, and if someone wants to know how to solve it, they can ask for a hint. That's how I feel about it. I think if someone doesn't know how to solve the puzzle, they can ask for a hint. And I think people that deny hints are terrible people. I think if someone wants a hint for your puzzle, you should be giving them a hint. I think accessibility is a good thing, but I don't think accessibility is making something accessible by telling you how to do it like up front without giving you the chance to look for it yourself. I think that's not good. And yeah, and if your problem is like having bad telegraph set, okay, then just suffer from less people solving your puzzles, or just make a puzzle with different telegraph, like a more telegraph set. I don't know how to really say it. Like I don't think a puzzle should go in with a how to solve the puzzle just right off the bat. But I think hints and like Wolfer says, I think hints and walkthroughs are great because if they can reference something. I've almost considered writing solution guides for everything that I've set and having them on sort of public repository in a sort of way that maybe more, novice solvers can get interested in more difficult puzzles, because maybe reading through the solve path for something that's really crazy and seems out there might make them more confident and feel like they might be able to do harder puzzles in the future. Like I've genuinely thought about doing that, and I might do that, and I might, I think that might be a really healthy thing. But I still don't think I would be like, okay, this is how you solve the puzzle. Go solve the puzzle. Like that's not, I'm not a fan of that. I know it's just pedantic, but it's yeah, but I think solving should be, an exploration of, that's just how I feel. But I guess my point is if you're going to call a puzzle like it's a setup or something like that, instead of doing that, leave a little hint or something, say like encode it with like route 13 or something. Just have it there so you don't have to, you know what I mean? So it's there, but it's not in your face. I don't like it when the answer is in my face. Yeah, true, Pancake. Every title should be the LMD solution code.
Sorry, my cat is screaming. Things are going on. Doors are being slammed. So
all good.
Yeah. Life. Here, I'm gonna stop screaming. Say hello to the people. No more screaming. This is how we all come together. The disagreements, they come together with cats,
I'm a cat person over a dog person.
I mean, I'm very happy to have a disagreement with you guys' opinion.
The delay, I can just see the cat now. So yeah, I appreciate the cat.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have like a different opinion. I mean, I think I should also say, just to be clear, I try to push the people to actually make the set telegraphed, but if they really are they're like, no, I don't want to do that, then I tell them.
If they don't do it, then just suffer from less people solving the puzzle. That's what you get. It's whatever.
Yeah, I see your point there, but people don't. I'll tell people, put it in the title so more people solve your puzzle. That and then they can make their own decision. That's sort of what I tell people, but. I don't use set, so I don't want to do that. I made one puzzle with set, and I removed it from LMD. So
I've never even set a set puzzle, but yeah. Oh yeah, Naverio. He brings up the solver part of the question. Got lost in the middle of that. Solvers that inspire me. Number one. Well, I don't have a solver that inspires me in the sense that I respect insane solvers. But above all, the solver I respect most is Vebi, because he has a discipline that like no one else has. Like he will just pick a setter and then do every single one of their puzzles, and then just go to the next one. Yeah,
beautiful.
And then he does it for the next one. I don't know how you do that without killing yourself. Like that's it's insane. He's a machine. Like Vebi is the most incredible solver to me for that reason.
Yeah, definitely.
Solvers, like, I guess I brought her up before, but Polar, I think Polar is probably a stronger solver than Vebi. I think she's probably one of the strongest solvers on LMD. But they obviously very clearly pick which puzzles they do because they're like, "Ooh, this is a hard puzzle and it's interesting to me, so I'll do this hard puzzle." But it's not because they won't just go do every single puzzle. PG Bluster. Is that Hippo? I can't.
Yes, that's Hippo.
Yes, hi Hippo. Why I find that impressive? I find that impressive because it's just like it's a discipline that just is insane to me. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just an unreal level of discipline, and I don't think a lot of people could even muster that amount of discipline because the amount of sheer time that he spends going through puzzle. If a puzzle he hates, he goes in order always. Like he doesn't jump around. Like he will suck
crazy.
up whatever. And that's just so it's like admirable to me. Like he will do whatever. Like
he's also a very kind person.
He is a very kind person. He's very sweet. And he deserves much more love and appreciation than I think he currently gets from the CTC community.
Love Vebi.
Yeah. Isn't being selective also a good trait? I think being selective probably means you're more of a human being. I don't know, and less of a robot like Vebi, because like if you don't like something, then you don't do it. But getting Vebi'd is a huge honor. But I mean, I'm a very selective solver. I will not solve something that I think will be boring or forgettable just by looking at it. I won't. I don't know. I've done many puzzles that I've forgotten in the past. So nowadays I try not to do things that I feel like I won't really care about. As mean as that is to say, I don't really want to do them. But I don't know. I could never do it. And maybe I find it so admirable because it's something that I, as a human being, am not capable of doing. And I don't think a lot of people are capable of doing. And I think it's just, he's a very special guy in the community. He's the unsung hero.
Speaking of unsung heroes, I know Wen Chang, who, for those who don't know, makes a daily Sudoku video speaking in Chinese. He solves your puzzles regularly, like a lot. He solves a lot of your puzzles. Is watching his solve closer in value to watching a mute solve in voice chat one, or is it closer to like watching Simon or Naverio solve your puzzle speaking aloud?
Well, the problem is that I took Mandarin in college, so I can understand Wenchang. So
Oh my word.
Yeah. So I know what he's saying most of the time. I can't speak because most of my college education was not very verbal. It was lots of reading and writing. But
Right.
I can listen and understand, and generally with numerical stuff, it's very easy to follow. So when he's saying something, when he's saying a deduction, I can follow what he's saying. I personally have loved watching Wenchang features more than the CTC features, if I'm going to be completely honest. But I like the CTC features because obviously you get like the recognition and you get the comments and all that. But as an actual solve, I prefer actually watching Wenchang solve my puzzles than Simon.
Wen Chang is a gem. Sometimes I'll just watch him.
Yeah, Wenchang is awesome. I like watching him because sometimes it's painful when a solver gets stuck on a point in your puzzle. A lot of my puzzles have sticking points, admittedly, and it's not always that fun, I guess, to watch someone do nothing. You know what I mean? It's like everyone feels this. But Wenchang, I don't know. He's a monster. He just doesn't get stuck. He just he just goes through the puzzle and just like he doesn't stop. I don't get it. It's just he's Wenchang.
Except for on Baikel. He just
He's never on your puzzle, yeah.
That was a really painful solve to watch. I don't know why.
Yeah. Tess says, what do you not like about Simon solve? I don't dislike Simon solves at all. I love watching Simon be like, wow, that's like Bazinga or whatever he's saying, or like Bobbins. He said Bazinga during during I think my cave puzzle. He's like, this is like the Sheldon Cooper of Sudoku. I think it was that made me laugh. I remember it. Yeah, no, but I guess I don't really care for the content creator aspect as much. Like, I'm not really a big CTC watcher, if I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I respect the features and I like seeing what's get featured, and I will always obviously watch my features or features of puzzles that I think that I really like, or of, people that I respect, But yeah. I don't really care about watching someone do a Sudoku for a live audience. That isn't really my form of entertainment. I would much rather watch something else over an hour. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wenchang, I don't know. It's his puzzles, or his are generally more fun to watch because I guess also it's not fair because the puzzles that I have been featured on CTC are on the easier sides of things that I've set, and Wenchang does some of the harder things that I've set in shorter periods of time than Simon on the easier things that I have set. And it's just crazy that just watching Wenchang just power through some just really hard stuff in like 2 seconds. Like, he just spots things.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't get it, but yeah, Wenchang's awesome.
Watching Wenchang do like a 3-star puzzle is insane. It's just insane. It's undescribable.
Yeah, he did it's rated 5 stars, but I think it's on the easier end of 5 stars. It's a S-Cell Killer Sudoku. I think you've done it, actually.
Yeah. And
he did it in like less than half an hour, and I just had no idea how to even react to it. I was like, okay, Wenchang or whatever. It's just him. Like, it's a 30-minute video, and he spends the first 5 minutes explaining to the rules.
No.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, Simon solves my easier puzzles, and the video titles are like the hardest Sudoku ever. That is true. He does do that.
So
well, it's not true. Whole construction. That's the hardest puzzle of all time. Kajito's feature with the big thumbnail. It's like the hardest maximum difficulty.
Yeah, maximum difficulty. 4 stars. You're quite young as me. You're not the youngest person setting.
I'm in my 20s. I have baby face, but I said yes. I'm in my mid-20s.
Yeah. But there are a lot of middle-aged people in setting, especially like older German people and stuff.
Older German. Yeah.
Older German people, you know, the ones. Do you think age impacts setting style?
Do you think age and I've never really thought about this.
Me neither. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, to circle back, I know Jesper's in his 40s, so I'm gonna go with no. But I mean, yeah, I don't really know. I think maybe older people, I guess DC adjacent older people have less free time, so they like making easier puzzles, I guess, because they have less time to do them. I don't know. That's just me saying words, but I've never really thought about age being a factor with how you set. I feel like you can be creative at any age. I don't see myself petering out anytime soon. Like, what does them being German have to do with it? That's a funny question. No, I don't know if you're here, Hippo, but I was talking about like the German old guard of LMD, those absurd puzzles that I torture myself with. Yeah, the most recent Wichtel puzzle. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce German. That was a monster. The congruence loop cave that deserves like a 115% on LMD personally, but it's like 98. I guess I feel like the old German guard are extremely hard raters, because if that's not a 100, I don't know what is a 100, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Okay, going back to your puzzles. What's the most KNT like puzzle that you've made? Like, what puzzle encapsulates your setting style?
What puzzle encapsulates my setting style? This is a hard question.
Yeah, they're all hard questions.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is the The first thing that immediately came to mind is what's it called? The very most recent thing that I have set. It's a 16 by 16 Japanese thumbs Nurikabe.
That encapsulates your setting style?
I'm being completely serious. Okay. Like, the actual deductions within the puzzle is a very me thing. It is an extremely long puzzle. There aren't any what's it called? It's an extremely long puzzle. There's lots of a variety of deductions. There's geometry, there's connectivity, there's arithmetic. Right. You're constantly having to switch between scanning and thinking about geometry. No, not this one. The very most recent thing. Yeah.
What? That is the most recent thing.
This one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I had it up, so I was switching between tabs because I thought I had it up.
Yeah, this is. I mean, yeah, this is. I love this puzzle so much. Yeah, Kogito's question: what color is my hair? I think this is a question for you. What color is my hair? Kogito wants to know. He asked it in the Discord.
Yeah, I know. I just ignored him. Yeah. But Deverio did ask a question which seems poignant at this moment. Why do you often set puzzles which combine pencil puzzle genres with Sudoku instead of just using more traditional variants?
Well, I think it circles back to something I said towards the very beginning of this, is that pencil puzzles add another layer to puzzles. Like, it's not adding more intricacy into the constraints themselves. I mean, I guess it is, however you want to define it. But it adds, like, a puzzle on top of a puzzle. Like, I like having the solver has to juggle more things instead of having... I like breadth instead of depth. I guess that's a very simple way to say it. Yeah. I don't like... I personally, as a setter, I don't like creating patterns that require really deep and careful examination to really understand their full potential. I like overwhelming the solver with lots of small things and making them go on a scavenger hunt and try to figure out what's useful and kind of piecing them together, and always having some kind of clue somewhere to make a little bit of progress at some point in the puzzle. I guess my style really boils down to overwhelming the solver with lots of little bits that might be potentially helpful, and then having them kind of, weed their way through, and find what actually, moves the puzzle forward. And I think pencil puzzles, having a shading on top of that, like have some sort of shading or connectivity, just adds so many different and additional types of thinking, especially when you integrate it with some sort of numerical or mechanical thing like Sudoku. I just think it's a really nice way to add breadth to your puzzle without making any particular deduction like crazy. Like you don't have. I mean, you can make a particular deduction crazy, but it's an easy way to add more to your puzzle without making just to add more to your puzzle. It's just and it's cool. I like coloring. Like I like making colors. Like, you know, that's always fun. Right. But yeah, no. Yeah. It just comes down to layer.
Right.
That's interesting. She says actually something that's interesting to me. Some of Jester's puzzle requires some sort of deep inspection at the start to understand what's happening. I agree with that. And I think I am not good enough as a setter to create some of those really intricate and cool patterns that he's able to create. So, and I appreciate them, but I'm saying me as a setter, I don't think I really have any break-ins that require like serious analysis of a rule set to understand some deep underlying pattern, just because I'm not at that level at this point. I want to keep improving. I want to get better, but I think that the answer to that question is it comes because I'm not good enough to do that. Aquatic construction that's probably the only puzzle I've set that really you really have to consider lots of moving parts.
I was gonna say aquatic construction. You just you stole the Fist of Hell thing and changed it, so it's
I did. I mean, that's what I mean. It has lots of moving parts, but it's once again it's largely inspired by Fist of Hell's Philomena Emporium. I just took the idea and reincorporated it into a Sudoku or a chaos construction.
And made it easier because it was much easier than that idea.
I think I don't know how they compare difficulty, to be perfectly honest. I think it's probably
as someone who solved both, it's a lot easier to understand
than the Philomena one, you think?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so I think the answer to Fujita's question is just I'm just not good enough. I think and I'm fully aware of that, and I want to improve and be able to set these really deep and like not necessarily complicated, but like elegant, but require lots of moving parts and complex openers. But I don't know.
It's a completely different skill set, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're not good enough. It's just you haven't developed that part of your skill set yet.
Yeah, well, that is not being good enough at that. It's not something I've really developed. So I try to make some sort of nice local deduction that's. I start almost all of my puzzles in the top left. Almost all of them have an opener in the top left. People that solve my puzzles probably.
As we can see from the progress on all these puzzles in the background, that's not true in some of them, so you're a liar.
It's not true in the Suguru that's in the left of me, but that's easily the puzzle. If I had to delete one, it would be that one. And I guess the region someone is not in the top left, but it looks like a lot of the other ones are. Most of them are top left.
Yeah. Most.
But yeah, I generally, that's true. With my recent Japanese sums puzzle, the break-in is in the bottom right, but I actually did that intentionally because Japanese sums clues that are closest to the edge from the top and on the right would be the rightmost or the bottommost part. So I made it so that the break-in, you didn't have to look as far up onto the grid, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
The thing at the very bottom of the Japanese sum corresponds to the lowest thing in the of the rows, and the one on the right, closest to the grid. So yeah, basically I put it in the bottom right so that you it's easier on the eyes. So that was my thought behind it. So
well, the other thing with that is that when there's less clues, they become different levels. So then it's hard to scan the top of a row if you're looking for a break-in because they're at different heights.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought it would be very. It was deliberate so that they're all on the same level, so you don't have to strain your eyes. So there was actual serious consideration into why I put the break-in the part of the grid that I did, because I wanted it to be as nice to the solver as I could.
That is big brain, Naverio. So don't even lie. So you already mentioned the jellyfish. You don't like that one. So is that your biggest puzzling regret? Is that something you wanted to
That is my biggest
back?
puzzling regret, but I definitely learned a lot about it because that was definitely a sunk cost like a sunk cost kind of thing because I spent a while on it, and I was a lot worse as a setter when it came to setting things without using like F puzzles to check for a valid grid. Because a lot of chaos constructions, I still do this, is I use I set in Penpa, but when I'm nearing the end of setting a chaos construction, I go to F puzzles and I set all the regions to the rows, and I put in killer cages to track the partial regions, and then I see if there's valid solutions. But with the Suguru, I did not. You can't do that on F puzzles.
You can't do that at all.
Yeah, you can't do that. So I was kind of going in. It was the first time I really did something that was region building without like knowing how to check if a grid was resolved or not. And it kept breaking over and over again, and I was really annoyed, and I just kept on pushing forward, and then it came out. And the puzzle, I mean, it actually has some good ideas at the start, but then it just becomes really tiring Sudoku because I squeezed the hell out of the Sudoku to make it unique. And if I were to do it again, I think I'm much better at that kind of thing now, and I would make it completely different, a completely different back half, at least of the puzzle, because I think the first half is totally fine. But the back half feels like the back 3/4 because you're just doing Sudoku for all of it, if that makes any sense.
Right.
It's like yeah.
How long does it normally take for you to set something?
From my short sets are
Sorry, you're
probably
breaking up. Just restart.
6
Restart
hours.
the answer.
Yeah, I said my short sets are probably 5 or 6 hours, and that's a short set. Long sets are probably 20 plus, but that's not often. I'd say my average is probably around 12 hours for a set.
Right. So is it a good thing when it takes longer because then you're killing more time?
Yeah, of course.
You're not killing Navario's time, so it's not a good
thing. I like enjoy the process of setting, so the amount of time it takes, it kind of just disappears because I'm just so lost in the process. The time just disappears. I don't really know how to really describe it, so it doesn't really matter how long it takes to me. I just like the process. And once I'm not a fast setter, but I don't think I'm a fast setter in the sense that I'm slow to find clues. I think I try lots of different clues, and I bifurcate like all of them out until I find the ones that I like. And Zeno asked a really good question. Do you think the puzzles you spend more time in total end up as objectively better puzzles? I want to say yes, but ever so slightly. I think when something goes really quickly, that usually just means I say really quickly, I mean on the faster end, that means I either got lucky or I found something, or just the ideas clicked well in my head really, really nicely. So I don't think if I'm setting something quickly, that just means I'm trying to get a puzzle out there for the sake of it getting out there. It just happened to happen faster. And so yeah, but sometimes I would say that if I am spending longer on a puzzle, that probably means that I have put more thought into it, and it might on average be slightly more ironed out, but I don't think it's that significant. But there are some rule sets or some sizes of the grid, like 16 by 16, that inherently take a lot more to set because they're just more involved. But I think if I'm spending like forever on one part of a puzzle, that doesn't necessarily mean it'll be better or something than something I find easier. Yeah.
So you talked about bifurcation for a second, so I'm going to bring up the Zeta math question. He said, I know as a solver you enjoy bifurcation / look ahead more than the rest of us do, but when I solve your puzzles, I really find those to be part of the solution. Do you find those tools less satisfying as a setter than a solver, or do you just know that your audience won't like them?
I think it's an interesting statement because I don't think I enjoy bifurcation. I'm excited to bifurcate. No, but if I get stuck in a puzzle, I will not hesitate to bifurcate on what looks weak. And I know a lot of people would rather just sit there waiting to find the next step. I am very stubborn, I guess, and I'll be like, okay, this probably looks weak if I play around with it. And I'll kind of fill things out, and I'll try things, and I'll try to mess around with it. until I find something that looks weak. And then a lot of the times, even if I bifurcate on something, I can rewind, and then I can be like, oh, this is weak because X. And then once I realize that it's weak because X, I find something that's a neat part of the puzzle. But it kind of goes back to me saying that a puzzle is not for something for me to grade in like my armchair. You know, it's like it's something that I just play around with. You know, it's it's something that I'm bifurcating is me playing around with the puzzle because I don't understand how it works, and me doing nothing but stare at it isn't going to help me understand it better. I think the way to make me understand it better is to literally play around with it, and bifurcating is the essence of playing around with a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if you call it if I'm heavily case checking or I'm bifurcating. I don't really care what you say I'm doing. I'm exploring the puzzle so that I can understand it better, so that I can get through to the end. And that's how
I'll stand with you and say that I also do that a lot. More often I do that when I'm not streaming than when I'm streaming, because I feel a little bit guilty about it, but I probably shouldn't. I should just show people why I'm doing that, and show them that it's not actually that bad to do that, because sometimes it helps you understand what's going on better to just play around with it.
Yeah,
actually, Simon's been doing that a lot more these days. So
yes, Simon has been doing that a lot more. And I don't fault him for it, but I really get annoyed when people are like, "Oh, you're bifurcating the puzzle." It's like, okay, he's solving the puzzle. And he does a great job of explaining his way through the puzzle. I
just don't like when he says that the step is beautiful if he has literally only found it by bifurcating. That's the only problem I have.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That's not beautiful. It's just just bifurcated.
I think my definition of a beautiful step is not different from what anyone else's definition of a beautiful step is, really. Like,
right.
I just don't really care if I have to bifurcate to find something. And that doesn't really make me think less of a puzzle that much. Unless the entire puzzle is literally just all me case checking and going down trails until I hit dead ends. That's one thing. But if I'm really at a sticking point and I play around with stuff until I find a new way forward, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind that at all. And there's rarely that in my puzzles, is because I think I bifurcate a ton when I'm setting just to see how things work. And I try to find things that I guess I don't have to do. Yeah, that work well, because I've bifurcated so much. I know what doesn't need bifurcation. So that's I guess why there's minimal bifurcation in my puzzles. There is only one puzzle that I've set, and it's one of my favorite puzzles, but the opening is literally just case checking, and there's no two ways about it, and I own up to it. And it's my double snake puzzle. It's the one. It's underneath my camera. It's the third one with red and blue. That's a Wenchang screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doubles. Yeah, the start of double snake.
Oh no.
Doesn't require. I don't treat that as like an excuse, but mine definitely does require it to start. Yeah. Yeah, I own up to it, but I think it's a cool puzzle. It's one of my favorites that I've set, but it's the only puzzle of mine that I will own up and say, yeah, I don't have any good step for you. You just have to try it out. You have to play around.
It's okay, Tess. KNT no longer frozen. No, nothing interesting happened, I think.
I'm frozen? That's
no,
so
you
sad.
froze for like half a second, and then it updated.
Yeah.
So I've noticed sort of that there have been some great success with puzzle trends that so happen to like line up with what you've been doing at the same time, like hybrid, CC, stuff like that. Is that like a coincidence, or is it because you're solving so much that you get caught up with the trend?
Sorry, what do you like? Can you give me an example? Like, I'm actually not sure what you mean by that.
Like the CC trend, like everyone was making CCs for a little while, and that's basically when you were making CCs. Is that just like a coincidence because you're steeped in the CC?
I think.
Or you made the trend?
I was one of the first. I'd say. I mean, it's like by a couple of weeks or whatever to start really actively making CCs. So I don't think I really copied that trend. I think I was pretty staunch and just, I like making CCs. I'm gonna make CCs. I don't think any of my puzzles are, everyone else is doing this, I'll make one too, besides my one doubler puzzle, because That was a trend that happened, and I'll admit that everyone's making a doubler puzzle, and I felt I should make a doubler puzzle. But I never made a CC because I felt like everyone was making CCs. I made CCs because I thought they were just fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've even been told by some people that I popularized the CC tag in recent times, which I don't think is true, but I think it's a lot of people do attribute it to me. And the positive feedback that I get on Logic Masters Germany has encouraged other people to make them too, because they think it's also a cheat code to getting 100%, and it is. But yeah, I don't think I've really copied anyone and made something because someone else had success. Yeah, I've definitely assisted. Yeah, to the trend, Kagito. Yeah.
Okay. Gonna try something new. I have a few questions that are just like rapid fire, one option or the other. So I'll just go through them. Local or global deduction?
Local.
Coloring or good living?
Good living.
Geometry or arithmetic?
Geometry.
Magnus or Jesper?
Jesper, that's an easy question, yeah.
Penta or F puzzles?
Penta.
Blue or red?
Indifferent. I'll go with, I color red more than blue, I think, in puzzles, but I'm indifferent to that.
Water or air?
What is this? Let's go with water.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Sudoku or pencil puzzles?
Pencil puzzle.
Okay.
I mean I love Sudoku hybrids, but I think that last one is actually kind of funny because I'm a Sudoku setter, I guess, in that sense. But I think pencil puzzle logic is more fun.
Yeah.
For the most part. Just in
Sudoku is a pencil puzzle.
Yeah, Sudoku is a pencil puzzle. That's true. Simon or Mark? That's impossible. They're both precious. Potato Head.
Wen Chang wins.
Yeah, Wen Chang. That's the answer.
Yeah. Turganus asked, can you comment on if there's a disparity between the reality and perception that you actively make difficult CCs? And if there is, how did that perception come to be?
Well, that perception came to be because I have the most 5-star puzzles on Logic Masters Germany. That's a fact, actually. I have the most published 5 on the website. Yes, I do. I broke it recently with 22, and I'm at 25 now.
You're a plague.
What? Yeah.
You're a plague.
Yeah. I am a plague. But so that's how the perception came to be. That's the easy one. But is my perception as a particularly hard setter? I think a lot of my 5 stars are barely 5 stars. So I actually don't think I'm like a monster setter, like I said before. I think Faluda takes that title very easily. But I think that because I consistently set hard puzzles, and I don't set easy puzzles, I'm perceived as a hard setter, so that makes sense. But I don't see myself as I make hard for the sake of doing hard. I set when I'm setting, I think, oh, this is a cool deduction. I think, oh, this is a cool deduction, so I put it in the puzzle. And I very rarely think a puzzle that's like 6 can only be made with 1 5 or 2 4 is like a cool deduction. I know I'm being trite, but you know what I mean. I like it when there's lots of moving parts. That's when I typically find something as fun to me.
Right.
And usually when there's more than a couple things moving on at the same time, it gets bumped up in difficulty. I guess, yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah, and I agree with that, Kagito. I don't really think I have many absolutely monstrous puzzles. Like even the 16x16 that I posted like last night. I don't. There isn't any real monstrous step. It's just very long. It's a very long puzzle, but yeah, it's not particularly crazy at any point. But I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
What value have you gotten from collaborative setting experiences?
I've only collabed one puzzle, and that broken one with you, actually. And that one puzzle is Taijitsu with Totally Normal Cat. And that was a really fun collab. And the way that worked was I would just play around with clues, and then Totally Normal Cat would find a clue that was way better than anything I found, and rinse and repeat, and then we made the puzzle in 2 days. So basically, my one collaborative experience was realizing that he's just a god, because I was a lot newer at that time, and he found tons of absurd things, like the one crazy part of that puzzle that everyone knows as the one crazy part of the puzzle that solved it. That wasn't me at all, but I definitely came up with the rule set, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really humbling experience just to see him just kind of pop off. I don't really know how to describe it other than that. He posted it if you're looking for it. It's not.
Oh, he posted it. Okay.
He posted it, yes.
I have not logged myself, I think. Unless you made me. You might have made me.
Yeah.
You probably made me.
I don't think I made you. I mean, I can make you. No, I'm joking, but yeah. What puzzles?
Sorry?
No, I was seeing what Tess said. What puzzles do I consider monstrous? I have. Yes. Okay, I can list some off the bat. Jesper's Castle Wall Delta 2.
I think she meant your puzzles.
No, oh, which puzzles would mine? I thought you meant just in general. I was gonna say Faluta's friends.
I think we all know about which puzzles in general are monstrous. You. No,
I'm saying my opinions. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think she's asking about yours versus, like, because you said there are a couple monstrous ones, right?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I'm very not. I don't think about. Yeah. See, she did mean just in general. See, I can read it. Yeah, but okay, but I can talk about which ones of my own. I think ones that are actually monstrous. Aquatic construction is definitely the hardest thing I've set. I think my puzzle Orpheus it's a 10 by 10 chaos construction. I think that's that's the only puzzle on LMD that I've posted that everyone rated 5 for difficulty.
Interesting.
In statistics where you can see who rated what, and all of them have at least one, you know what I mean, a 4-star or whatever.
Yeah.
But that puzzle is the only puzzle that no one had even decided to rate 4-star. It has perfect, I guess perfect, but everyone is 5-star difficulty. I think understanding the implications of my double snake puzzle are very tricky. But I think the puzzle is actually fairly smooth after the start. And I guess the 16 by 16, just in terms of size, it's a monster, but like I don't think it's really monstrously difficult at any point at all. But yeah, that's all. That aquatic construction is really the only one that comes to mind, and Orpheus. Those are the only two. Yeah.
Do you get puzzles tested privately more often or publicly?
Privately, yes. I don't put any. I put things in Sudoku testing submissions or other testing submissions. I don't know why I do it. I mean, Henry Pye James is like the only person that ever touches them, ever, and I could probably just ask him anyway. But I've asked Vebi in the past. I've asked Naverio in the past. I've asked Kojito in the past. And I've recently asked Polar for the 16 by 16. But yeah, most of my puzzles I ask to be tested privately. Just because I know the people that will be solving my puzzles. It is an audience of very more serious solvers in general, and I think that it's good to have feedback of someone that I trust.
Yeah.
Know what's going out there. But I do understand having just someone that you've never even heard of say that this something was good or it sucked or whatever. But I've tried posting things in testing or other testing submissions, and no one does them. So it's not even it's not even a consideration for me. I just ask in private. It's like testing is it's barely even an option besides Henry Pye James. Like, seriously, it's
interesting.
Did I have my initial puzzles tested at all? Zeno says no, I did not.
That's what I was going to ask next.
I barely even tested myself, to be perfectly honest. My first couple, I just kind of posted that.
Too excited.
My third puzzle, it's X sums and lines. I typoed one of the clues, and it was just a broken puzzle. And I think it was Mark Mees says this puzzle's broken, so I deactivated it, and then I reactivated it as a different puzzle. I literally just posted a broken puzzle as my third puzzle. No one saw it because he was at it at like an hour after I posted it. But I was very lazy about how I started my early puzzles. And do I ever watch them test, and they send feedback a few hours later? They just send feedback a few hours later. Yeah, they don't stream, so That's really all that matters to me, at least. You have a really nice bot in your chat. It's telling me how I can find love. Let's
Got it.
delete it. Yeah.
Oh, never gets the credit because lag. Great. Uh, do you usually submit your puzzles to CTC or just let other people do that for you?
Nope, I submitted one to CTC and it was the aquatic construction. I knew that would never get featured, but I sent it on. I put it on their radar, and it did not get featured as I expected. But other than that, no, I've recommended I've recommended other people's puzzles a bit. Yeah, I've done that. Tess, I do not like Sudoku. I do not have one love that is Sudoku. I do not like the act of eliminating digits in rows, columns, and boxes. I try to make that as little of as part of the solve path of my solve paths as possible. I like arithmetic. I don't but I don't like Sudoku kind of stuff. Even though I make Sudoku, it's kind of contradictory.
What's your opinion on puzzle packs? Will we ever see a KNT puzzle pack?
I don't get the point, to be honest. Like who is it for? That's how I see it. Like, what? Like, I can like I wouldn't make a puzzle pack of like 3-star puzzles for the sake of making a puzzle pack of 3-star puzzles. Like, that just doesn't really feel like something I would really. It just feels like busy work to me. I don't know. Don't think I'd have fun with it. And then, like, why would someone solve my puzzle pack of 3-star puzzles when, like, someone like Kodak or someone exists who's just, like, infinitely better at setting, like, standard approachable puzzles? And at the same token, if I made, like, a puzzle pack of, like, 5 or 10 chaos constructions and the whole thing took me, I don't know, like, close to 100 hours to make, why wouldn't I just post them all individually? Because they'll probably be puzzles that could really stand on their own 2 legs. I just don't see the reason. Yeah, Wolfer's saying a puzzle pack can be good for the same reason that discovering a cool catalog on LMD can be good. But why did not just put it on LMD at that point? Who is going to actually be real with me? Who is going to solve like a chaos construction puzzle pack that's like of real substantial puzzles instead of just they wouldn't be done in sequence. They would be done when you have the energy or time, unless you're like Bebby or someone that can actually do them in sequence. But
there you go.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you come up with your puzzle names? What's your best puzzle name?
What's my best puzzle name? How do I come up with puzzle names? A lot of my puzzle names are really creative, like Japanese Sum Nurikabe number 2.
I like that one. That's my favorite one.
Or Kurato Killer Sudoku. Or, Chaos Deconstruction number 3, Double Snake 11 by 9. Like, I have really creative names. But a lot of names that I come up with. I mean, I'm a total dork with fiction and mythology in general. I just pick something that's has some sort of I don't know, parallel. Yeah. Like I mean the 6x6 thing, Opus Vermiculatum, is a way of it's a Latin method of making stained glass. It's like a very fine method of making stained glass, like a mosaic.
You're such a nerd.
Yeah, no, I am. I know. So like making the 6x6 linked thing is like because it looks like kind of like a mosaic of stained glass. That was my thought behind it. But yeah.
So you didn't answer what's your best puzzle name? Is that
my best puzzle name?
Japanese Sum?
It has to be Japanese Sum Nurikabe number 2, 16 by 16. No,
right?
Like, that's a
really good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be it. No, I don't have any name that I'm like proud of or anything like that. I mean, I'm just looking at my names right now. Yeah, there's nothing really to mind.
What's your favorite puzzle name of a different setter? And I know the answer.
Do I? Oh, Diagonal Bicycle? Is that what you're gonna say? You're Diagonal.
That's your favorite name, right?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you said that it, I mean, it came to mind. So that speaks on something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't. I can't really think of anything. I mean, I see Woofer in chat. I appreciate his Paper Mario names. I loved that game growing up.
Yeah.
It was fun. They're fun to see. But yeah, no, not many names really come to mind. I'm not big on names. I
How often do
apologize.
how often do you set something and then just like stop setting it, just throw it away?
Like never, honestly. To be perfectly honest.
Co-op challenge, that's it.
Yeah, Colot challenge. That's pretty much it. When I have an idea, I'll just. I mean, a lot of times I've actually set a puzzle with the rule set, then I'll just trash it, and then I'll make a new puzzle with the exact same rule set. But I still consider it as part of like the same setting process, because I'll take like, what I learned from making the first puzzle and then applying it to make a better second one to post. Like I a lot of times when I have a rule set that I don't really know the implications of, I just try to make a puzzle that solves. With a rule set. Just anything that solves with the rule set, I don't care how good it is, just so I can learn how to make things for how a rule set can force anything. And then okay, I understand what are the strong parts of the rule set, what are the weak points of the rule set, and then I'll try to more seriously set a puzzle with the rule set. That's how I approach it. But very rarely I'm like, wow, this puzzle sucks, and this rule set sucks, and I just trash it. I really can't think of a time that's happened.
Right.
Actually, no, I can't. Actually, that's not true. There's one case I tried to set a puzzle with Nessie's rule set, and I thought the rule set was horrible, and I stopped after like 2 or 3 hours.
Good.
That's the only time in recent memory. Good, yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to solve another one of those.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I swapped the Sentinels with like actual sweepers, like that actually count the number of cells and whatever. Or no, you know there was like the circles and the squares. Yeah. I swapped the circles with Minesweeper clues for the how many in the snake and the surrounding area, and it was just still terrible. So I couldn't do it. That puzzle was that's a puzzle. That's the answer.
Where do you see your setting going in the future? Into pencil puzzles more? Large puzzles?
Yeah, I don't really see myself touching Sudoku for a bit at all. I don't really. I feel like we're at the point with a lot of variant Sudoku where we've kind of like exhausted like almost all the permutations of classic puzzles. It feels like there's very rarely where I feel like there's a new thing that I'm seeing in a standard variant puzzle. And if there is a new thing to be discovered, I am not the person to discover it. So I don't see myself really doing anything like that. And even then, I mean, I'll definitely make more chaos constructions in the future. Like I know I will. But I see myself making more chaos deconstructions. I like thinking empty cells playing a role. I'm really liking Japanese sums at the current moment. I'm loving Japanese sums. It's my favorite thing to set as of right now.
Talk to Panthera. She is a genius.
Sure, I should. I've never spoken to them, but I am really on a Japanese sums kick right now. But yeah, I think Japanese sums with pencil puzzles is something that I want to do. I said it earlier. I want to set Philomenoes, variant Philomenoes. I think Philomenoes kind of allow you to have all the same weird geometric logic that a chaos construction does, but it removes all the Sudoku stuff. Yeah. I think I want to really get deeper into Philomenoes. And I don't know, I have a couple ideas for things I want to set. I want to set some sort of permaculture. That's something that's on the very immediate to-do list.
Permaculture? What's that?
Permaculture, this is it is a thing with pencil puzzles where you have a grid, right? And the grid will be split into 2 fully connected parts. So think of it like yin yang in the sense that one part's fully connected, the other part's fully connected, not with or whatever. There's not that 2x2 business or whatever. Right. But each of those 2 segments is a different pencil puzzle, and it is your job to figure out which part of the grid is which pencil puzzle. So imagine a grid with like number clues, but some of the grid is Nurikabe and some of it's cave, and you have to figure out which part of the grid is cave and which part of the grid is Nurikabe by looking at the clues or something like that.
That's insane. That's just ridiculous.
You get what I mean, right? Like, and you'll have to actually like draw like a really weird jagged line to split the puzzle into 2 really weird sized mini puzzles where one of them is one type and one of them is the other type. And I've never seen that in a Sudoku. I've seen that in some really weird pencil puzzles. But I think doing a pencil puzzle hybrid where you have to determine where the cutoff is between one pencil puzzle and the other pencil puzzle would be a really cool idea. And yeah, I definitely want to explore that. And
that is so cool.
It is, right? Like the recent Vigil puzzle, Fell Communication. It's a permaculture, and one of the parts is Japanese cave. So you have Japanese sums, and basically that denotes the cave. and the
Yeah.
other part is a congruence loop or a congruence underground, which is a type I'd never seen before.
I don't know
Have you
what the
seen?
heck that
Have you
is.
seen?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, it is.
It's
It's
fine. You
awesome.
don't. I'll look at it later. And
Yeah,
everyone else
yeah,
can look at it later.
yeah. I know, but
It's probably awesome.
it's insane. But the puzzle kind of opened my eyes. It was like, holy crap! You can do multiple rule sets in a puzzle and have the solver figure out what parts of the puzzle belong to which rule set. Like you
Yeah.
could even probably do something as simple as anti-knight and anti-king, where you have the solver you just have like a classic Sudoku grid, and the solver has to figure out which part of the grid is anti-knight and which part of the grid is anti-king or something like that.
Please,
you know, like
please don't make that. It's so gross.
I would never do that. You know, I would never have a grid
gross.
like that. But I'm saying it could probably be boiled down to something as simple as that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but I think it would be. It
mean,
has a lot
I
of
know you hate
potential.
lines, but that's the perfect candidate for something like that. Like these lines are this or that.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, you know what? Oh my god. I have a puzzle that is sitting in the wings, and I've been trying to rework it, and this is what I am gonna do. That is, you've just inspired me. Okay.
I'm glad.
I have a beautiful deduction with palindrome and equal sum lines.
You should have it so that part of like you have a long line and the cutoff is halfway between the lines, so half of that line treats as a palindrome and the other half is a region sum or something like that.
That is
if you know
so
what I mean.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Something.
is there anything that we missed in this interview that you were like, I really want to talk about this. I hope he asked me about this.
I think we went through so much. There's nothing that really comes to mind. It's been a lot of fun.
Perfect. Okay.
I appreciate that you're doing these. It's good content, and I mean, I appreciate that. It's like there's a lot of love and care going into it. Like even the overlay, it's awesome.
Thank you.
It's just I don't know. I really appreciate all this work. It's a lot of it's really wholesome and great. I'm loving it. I want to thank you for just doing all this in general.
Thank you for coming on as well, because
Yeah,
it was
it's been
great to
fun.
hear everything that you had to say, and I've certainly, I knew I was going to get some like interesting opinions, and I definitely got a lot of interesting opinions from you.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool to see Setter's faces for the first time, says Woofer. Yeah, this is me.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
wait till the first person who doesn't show their face, and then I'm just like,
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that is that. Thank you everyone for coming out. Sub if you haven't subbed. 50% of you have not subbed. There's not that many of you who watch these. Sub. I'm not asking for you to divide two numbers, Alexa. What? Do people really ask that? Anyways, she said 50% of 50% is 25%. Thank you, Alexa, for your wisdom.
Alexa's right. Yeah.
Who asked that? Yes, but sub if you haven't subbed, like the stream, comment if you want. I get so many messages in DMs that I'm like, why didn't you just comment this? Like, just comment it. And that's the algorithm needs engagement. Don't engage with me. The algorithm doesn't even know that. Just comment it.
I'll comment.
Yeah.
See, how do I?
Your comment doesn't even have to be relevant. The algorithm will still understand it as a comment and engagement.
Yeah, could you just ask what color my hair is in a comment or something like that?
You might get a response.
Yeah.
Not from KNT, of course, but from other people. We'll tell you. Yeah, but anyways, Patreon, and I was thinking, do I have any other videos to plug? I should plug the fact that I am more busy now. So if you're watching this and you're like, yay, 3 streams a week. Yeah, that's not happening anymore, guys. So maybe 1 or 2 streams a week is the more standard thing that's going to be happening now. So just letting you know. But yeah, that's the show. Thank you, KNT, for coming on. Thanks everyone for watching. This outro went on way too long. Go ahead. You can say what you were gonna say.
I was saying thanks. I thought you ended it. I didn't realize you didn't end it yet.
No, I'm ending it now. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Bye bye. Yeah.